Dog sledding is one of Canada's most recognizable winter industries. Every year, thousands of tourists pay to ride behind a team of huskies through the snow. What most of them never see is what happens to those same dogs once the season ends and the customers go home. Long before dog sledding was a tourist activity, it was a way of life. For thousands of years in Inuit and other northern indigenous communities, dog teams weren't entertainment. They were partners. They carried families, food, and supplies across land that nothing else could cross. The relationship between musher and dog was built on necessity, respect, and survival, and the dogs were cared for accordingly, because the people depended on them, and they depended on the people. That's the origin of everything we now call sledding. It was never meant to be a photo opportunity. What exists across much of the commercial industry today is something different. The same animals, the same instinct to run and to work, but stripped of the relationship that once made this practice honorable. Over several years, one animal welfare investigator visited sled dog operations across 4 provinces: Saskatchewan, Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec. In 66 visits to 30 kennels, the same conditions kept showing up. Dogs shivering with no real shelter from the cold. Dogs pacing the same worn path back and forth over and over. A behavior animals develop when they're under chronic stress and have no way to relieve it. Dogs straining toward anyone who walked past, desperate for the kind of contact and affection they weren't getting from the people responsible for them. More than 2,000 of the dogs documented were tethered on chains too short to let them lie down comfortably, reach shelter, or touch the dog next to them. These weren't animals hidden away. These were dogs at operations still open to paying customers. In 2020, an investigator followed up on reports of a homemade device used to kill dogs that were no longer considered useful to a Quebec kennel. What they found confirmed it. Along with a freezer holding the bodies of puppies and adult dogs, these were animals bred into existence for an industry and discarded the moment they stopped being profitable. That's not an accident of one bad kennel. It's what happens when there's no requirement to account for every dog an operation brings into the world. Some of what's been documented shows dogs flinching away from raised hands, cowering when approached, reacting with the kind of fear that only comes from repeated mistreatment, sometimes happening in full view of tourists who had no idea what they were watching. Dogs don't have a way to tell us what a life like that costs them, but behavior like this is its own kind of testimony. British Columbia is the only province with dog sledding specific legislation, a sled dog code of practice that sets minimum standards for tether length, housing, and humane euthanasia. It exists because of a 2010 incident near Whistler, when up to 100 dogs were killed after a slow tourist season left an operator with more animals than it wanted to keep. Everywhere else in the country, sled dogs are covered only by general animal welfare law. Rules written for animals broadly, not for the specific reality of a kennel holding dozens or hundreds of working dogs. And with no routine inspections, oversight only happens after someone documents a problem and brings it forward. This practice belongs to Indigenous communities who built a relationship with these animals based on partnership, not spectacle. Dogs that were fed, sheltered, and valued, not because they were profitable, but because they were relied upon and respected as working companions. Somewhere along the way, a commercial industry took that relationship and turned it into a tourist attraction. Dogs bred in bulk, chained for months at a time, discarded when the math stopped working in their favor. That was never what this was meant to be, and it's not what these animals deserve. These are working animals with real needs, for space, for contact, for care that doesn't disappear the moment they stop being useful to somebody's bottom line, and change is already happening. Rescues across the country are stepping in to give retired and surrendered sled dogs real homes. Operators who do this right are proving every season that it's possible to work with these animals without breaking them. Public pressure has already forced one province to act. And every time someone chooses to ask harder questions, share what they've learned, or support an organization doing this work, that pressure grows. These dogs are resilient. Given the chance, they adapt, they trust again, they thrive. The industry can change too. It just needs enough people willing to insist on it.